fingers. The clear polish on her short nails caught his eye. He noticed that she was not wearing a wedding ring. Lucas gave his brain a mental shake in an effort to override his basic masculine response to Amaryllis's blush. He did not date women who were endowed with her particular psychic abilities. He had enough problems. Amaryllis was a highly trained prism. She had no true paranormal talents, as Lucas did, but she had the unique ability and the professional training to help people with psychic powers focus their otherwise erratic and unpredictable gifts. It was a fact of life that even the strongest talent was helpless to utilize his or her abilities for more than a few seconds without the assistance of an equally strong prism. The world being what it was, the economics of supply and demand pretty much guaranteed that powerful, well-trained prisms enjoyed a generous annual income.
"If you're satisfied that I can pay my bills," Lucas said, "why all the questions? I thought you folks were running a business here."
"The matter of our fees is only one of the issues with which we here at Synergy Inc. are concerned." The blush faded from Amaryllis's cheeks. She gave Lucas a gratingly professional smile. "It's not even the most important matter, as I'm sure you're well aware."
"Yeah, sure."
Lucas stifled a groan and straightened away from the desk. He flexed his hands as he stalked across the small office to the window. He had known this would not be easy. He came to a halt and gazed unseeingly at the busy street 3 floors below. It was mid-morning, and the city was humming. The discordant melody, produced by traffic, dockside activity, and people bustling to and fro, was a pleasant tune in Lucas's opinion. It had the lively beat of a booming economy and the exuberant lilt of a community that looked to the future with anticipation. New Seattle had not always sung such an enthusiastic song, nor had its sister city-states, New Portland and New Vancouver. A large percentage of the colonists who had been stranded on St. Helens shortly after the planet had been discovered 200 years earlier had been from a region on Earth known as the Pacific Northwest. When they had found themselves alone, cut off forever from their homeworld, the settlers had done what colonists had always done down through the ages. They had named their new communities after the cities and towns that they would never see again. Today, the city-states of New Seattle, New Portland, and New Vancouver formed a thriving, but still fragile, necklace of civilization along the edge of the western coast of St. Helens's largest continent. The sophisticated Earth-based technology the colonists had brought with them had disintegrated within months after the newcomers had been stranded. St. Helens had welcomed the new life forms, but it had refused to accept the alien machines they had depended upon. Rust-proof alloys had turned to dust in a matter of weeks. Plastics that were virtually indestructible on Earth had dissolved in St. Helens's otherwise hospitable atmosphere. In the end, nothing manufactured on the homeworld had survived. St. Helens had demanded that the newcomers adapt to the local environment or die. The colonists had adapted, but it had not been easy. They had finally managed to get a toehold on their new world, learned to utilize native metals and materials, but the effort had cost a great deal, including the loss of several generations' worth of science and technology. The history books informed the descendants of the founders that their modern machines and their science were both primitive by the standards of the homeworld. But the reality was that the ways of Earth were of academic interest, at best, to the current generation. After 2 centuries of being on their own, no one, with the exception of the members of some obscure religious cults, expected Earth to miraculously rediscover its lost colony. St. Helens was home, and a rich green world it was. Although a sizable portion of the planet had yet to be explored and mapped, it appeared that the descendants of the colonists constituted the only intelligent life forms. The artifacts Lucas had uncovered had caused a great deal of interest, but no serious alarm in the academic community. It was obvious that they were very, very old. Most researchers were convinced that they were not native in origin. The consensus of scientific opinion was that the relics were the remains of some ancient spacefaring people who had briefly established an outpost on St. Helens at some point in the distant past. It was clear that whoever they were, those other settlers, had long since disappeared or departed. The human population faced no competition. "Now then, Mr. Trent," Amaryllis said crisply, "if you still wish to hire a professional, academically trained prism to assist you, let us proceed to the next question." Lucas grimaced.